if you calm your vibration, enjoy every moment, you will create a much calmer and more peaceful environment in your mind, and it will give you more control over your thoughts, actions, words, and deeds. Slow it down. Turn the television off for a week or two or a year. Turn off the radio. Take a walk outside. Relax. Slow down your speech. Focus on every word, pronouncing it properly. Take a second after every period in the sentence, or even between words. It will give you more control and more power.
It's the Ronald Show, starring Ronald, documenting the collapse of life as we know it, as perpetrated by the global military-industrial complex. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the host of the Ronald Show, Ronald.
What if a government intelligence analyst from the Pentagon is forced to save mankind from extinction and the world from destruction, but first he must evolve into the Messiah and create the plan to save the world? The 21st century Messiah arrives, battles dark forces, and sparks the Armageddon that leads to the apocalypse, rapture, the 2012 pole shift, and extraterrestrial contact. Buy the book today by Ronald Farnham at Amazon and Barnes & Noble. The Second Coming of the Messiah, Book 1, The Awakening.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Ronald's Law Class 101. Today is class number 1, or maybe 2, depending on how I edit this. But what I'm going to be doing is going over important information about the law that you need to know, you must know, in order to be able to deal with the coming changes regarding the legal system and understanding your sovereignty and how to deal with police and your private and public trust, your human vessel, understanding maritime law, the history of our, I guess, slave society on this planet and how it was set up. Now, in my book, The Second Coming of the Messiah, Book 1, The Awakening, I discuss basically, it's the sequel to the Bible. So what I'm discussing here is in the book, it's really a bridge between where the Bible ends, what Revelations talks about, and then how we got to where we are right now. And so part of the history that you do not know about our society and why the police can take your home and tow your car is important. So this information that you need to know about the history and the way that things are set up that you got to know is important, because once you understand how it all works, then you will actually be able to operate within the system as a creditor instead of a debtor. And you will understand how to control your fictions and not just be the straw man. So let's begin class. Now, I got all of this information that I've been studying from creditorsincommerce.com, from the Temple audio series. And so what I did is, where we are right now, is I have transcribed the first hour of the introduction session. So you can either go there and listen to it, or you can listen to me explain it clearly and succinctly in probably less than an hour. So let's begin. All right, this is now an introduction into the system. And we're going to discuss the foundation of the inner workings of commerce. Okay, the entire global system of government and economics all operate in the system of commerce. So, once you understand how things are working, you can use procedures as creditors and operate as a creditor instead of a debtor. D-E-B-T-O-R, creditor, debtor. You are educated by the public school system to be a debtor at a very early age. And a creditor and a debtor differ in their actions within commerce. Now let's discuss law forms and jurisdiction. Like a pyramid, each successive law form falls within the law form before it. And at the top of the pyramid is natural law. And that's the law form that makes it possible to be here. That's your existence, your creation itself. The physics of the universe all come under natural law. Next under natural law is commercial law. So this is the highest form of law underneath natural law, which is commercial law. So like I said, at the top of the pyramid, we have natural law, you the human vessel, the human being, what made it possible for you to be here. And now we have commercial law, which is next, just under that. So commercial law is any interaction between sovereign beings. A sovereign is someone who has control over their property. Not someone who is in possession of property or who is an owner, but someone who actually controls the property. So two sovereign entities have complete freedom to contract with each other in any way they see fit. There's no oversight of their contract. If two individuals outside of any jurisdictions decide to contract between each other, that would be the area of commercial law. Okay, next under commercial law is common law. And that's a society or a group's agreement on how to interact with each other. For example, the United States, a society. Within the society, we have agreed on guidelines on how we will interact with each other. This has nothing to do with admiralty law, commerce, or statutes. Common law is in general a group of people decided to operate under these guidelines. Next law is statutes or statutory law. The U.S. has 52 titles of statutes in the U.S. Code. Okay. The tax code is Title 26 of the U.S. Code, which falls into the area of statutory law. So, under statutory law is the final law form or the lowest on the pyramid, which is political law. Example, if you play in a baseball league, let's say you're under the laws of the baseball league in what you do. There are no statutes in the U.S. codes that tell you how to play baseball. Baseball has its own group of laws which are under all of these. The baseball field may be in the public arena where statutory law prevails, even though the rules of baseball do not permit me to break a statutory law as intentionally harming someone. The statutory law governing the law that the field is in prevents me from doing such a thing, although the political law is there. The political law says that you can't do something, but it is the lowest form of law. Most of us operate in statutory law. If you operate as a U.S. citizen or as a U.S. corporation or as an officer of a U.S. corporation, then you are operating in statutory law. Let me repeat that. If you are operating as a U.S. citizen or as a U.S. corporation or as an officer of a U.S. corporation, then you are operating in statutory law. Advantages of understanding how to be a creditor in commerce will teach you how to operate in the highest form of law, okay, which is essentially commercial law. Now, you're going to learn how to do that as a creditor and learn how to control your property, and I'm going to help you. That's what this is all about. Control over you, the vessel, your property, and your automobile, or your automobiles. Rockefeller said in the early 1900s during his antitrust ordeal, quote, own nothing, control everything, unquote. Do you own a car? If your car is paid for, you do own it, but you do not control the car. The state can take the car from you because they control it. The state controls your car. Now, there are two types of title: equitable title and legal title. Equitable title is owner, operator, debtor's title. When you own your car, we mean you have equitable title. You can sell it and make money from selling it, but you do not control the vehicle because you did not issue the title for the vehicle. You do not control the vehicle because you did not issue the title for the vehicle. The state issued the title and they gave you a certificate of title. That means they're holding the legal title to the car. The legal title to the car is the MSO that came from the dealership when you purchased the car. The MSO was sent to the state or the DMV, the Department of Motor Vehicles, when you purchased it. The MSO is the title. The MSO is the manufacturer statement of origin, all right? You sign paperwork that gives them power of attorney to send the MSO to the state on your behalf. If you were purchasing the car and told them you were taking it to a foreign jurisdiction, they will give you the MSO if you ask for it. But before you ask for your MSO, you must understand that such an undertaking involves a procedure, and you want to understand how to be a creditor, which involves a lot of responsibility. The person with legal title takes responsibility for their property. Now let's discuss the different jurisdictions that you're living under. We have jurisdiction A, we'll call it, which is private, and that is a republic. And we have jurisdiction B, which is public, and that is a democracy. So we're calling jurisdiction A a republic and jurisdiction B a democracy. All right? A, republic, B, democracy. And these are not official jurisdiction titles, but I just want you to be able to understand the difference between a republic and a democracy as we move forward with this information.
Have you ever wanted to write a book? Have you ever wanted to write a screenplay? Have you ever wanted to have your great movie idea turned into a screenplay, turned into a movie, turned into a book, and distributed all over the world? Well, now you can learn how to do it with the great new book by Ronald, How to Write a Screenplay in 30 Days or Less. It includes the logline, theme, synopsis, outline, and screenplay of the three magic questions. Learn how to write a screenplay in 30 days or less, or your money back. Get it today at Amazon or Barnes & Noble.
Now, here's your history lesson. When the United States was established in 1776, not 1789, with the Declaration of Independence, we established through the Articles of Confederation a republic. A republic is sovereign. A republic controls its property, okay? So, when you're thinking republic, think people who control their property, people who control their assets, their land, their cars, and themselves. Okay, so in 1776, the United States was established, not in 1789. And it was established with the Declaration of Independence through the Articles of Confederation, and it established a republic. Now, in 1782, with the end of the Revolutionary War, the national government went to the states and asked them to pay the resulting war debt that had been incurred by the national government. So that was in 1782. With the creation of the national government in 1776, with the signing of the Articles of the Confederation, the national government took on the debt that had been incurred by the national government. In 1782, With the end of the Revolutionary War, the national government went to the states and asked them to pay the resulting war debt that had been incurred by the national government. With the creation of the national government in 1776, with the signing of the Articles of the Confederation, the national government took on the debt of the Revolutionary War on behalf of the United States. The states in 1782 said they would not pay the debt. In 1782, the states went to the national government and said, we're not going to pay the debt. So the national government was forced to form a constitution. The definition of a constitutor is one who creates a constitution, and a constitutor is one who passes on his debts to a third party. Read the Constitution and pay close attention to the preamble in Article 6 with words capitalized that should not be capitalized. In the preamble it says secure the blessings of liberty, and they capitalized B and L in blessings and liberty. It was spelled that way because it is corporate as we moved into a democracy. Now, the Constitution itself is a security. Because the states wouldn't pay the debt, they had to create a security with sureties to back the debt so the national government could do business with other national governments. Otherwise, no one will do business with you if you don't pay your debts or have a surety for your debts. And a surety is like when a 16-year-old wants to buy a car, he has to go to the dealership and get a cosigner or a surety to buy that car. Otherwise, they're not going to give it to him because he's got no credit. So the states signed on the Constitution as sureties, saying they would back the debt of the United States. Therefore, in 1789, with the signing and completion of the Bill of Rights and the Constitution, a security instrument was created to which the United States debt was attached. The debt put us into international bankruptcy. That debt put us into international bankruptcy because we didn't pay the debt. Because we didn't pay the debt, the national government went to the United Kingdom, the King of England, who said he would pay our debt. He'll pay our creditors. In exchange, though, the United Kingdom took legal title over the national government's property. So, since 1789, the national government lost its sovereignty after being a republic for only 7 years, from 1782 to 1789. The term for an international bankruptcy is 70 years. 70 years after 1789 is 1859, the Civil War. The real reason for the Civil War was not slavery. Slavery was already in the process of being outlawed in the U.S., as slavery had already been outlawed internationally, and America was in the process of following suit. At the end of the bankruptcy, the debt is due. The states signed on as sureties on the Constitution saying they would pay the debt, and the King of England, through his bankers and Rothschild Bank of France, said the debt was due, and they asked the states for their money. Subsequently, the northern states went to the southern states and said, hey, you guys have all the money, the cotton, gold, resources, and wealth, which was wrapped up in the South at the time. And so the North asked the South for the money. The South said they would not pay the debt and they were going to start their own country. Because of their dishonor with the international bankers, it was now up to the will of the creditors to get the debt paid or take sureties for the debt. So we fight the Civil War, and at the end of the war, the states lost their sovereignty because they refused to pay the debt to the creditors. And so another 70-year bankruptcy ensued. In the first bankruptcy, they took the nation's sovereignty. They took that away because the national government no longer could control its property. Whoever holds legal title controls the property. Now the states were in dishonor, so the international creditors took control of the state's property. So the states do not have sovereignty because they no longer control their property. That is the only thing that distinguishes a sovereign from a non-sovereign. A debtor is non-sovereign. Creditor controls. If you can wrap those concepts around your head and get them straight in your mind, you will be huge steps closer.
Now available at Amazon and Barnes & Noble is Harry Johnson, Diary of a Gigolo Porn Star. The crazy adventure of a 1951-born male in Beaufort, Georgia with a 2-foot penis that grows to 3 feet. He goes on to become an international porn star after becoming a war hero in Vietnam. Get it today at Amazon or Barnes &
The
Noble.
War of 1812. In 1791, Alexander Hamilton created the Bank of the United States, where the securities were being held. The international creditors, wanting a guarantee of payment, said, okay, you hold your securities in the Bank of the U.S., and we're all good. The Bank of the U.S. had a 20-year charter. In 1811, Congress decided not to renew the charter. This angered the creditors, so they sent in their troops, and the British troops came to American soil, went in and burned the White House and took possession of all the federal courts, because that is where all the titles are. To take control of the titles. As long as they control the property, that's all they cared about. After they burned the White House and took control of the property, the United States government decided to renew the Bank of the United States, and so the UK left. So in 1859, as a result of the second bankruptcy, the states lost their sovereignty. So let's fast forward to 70 years later, after the 70-year bankruptcy in 1929. Now, at the 1909 Jekyll Island meeting, the international bankers convened, wondering how to handle the debt due in 20 years because they didn't know how to pay it. In 1929, stock market crashes. In 1929, the debt became due. Their solution? The Federal Reserve Amendment, the Income Tax Amendment, and so they came up with the Federal Reserve System and the tax collectors. Now, in the Bible, and I'm not religious, the tax collectors in the Bible for Rome were the people of the territories that the Romans controlled, not the Romans. The United States tax collectors are working for a foreign power, but they are U.S. citizens. The IRS is made up of U.S. citizens who are working for a foreign power. Income taxes do not pay for the operations of government. Taxes go to the creditors. Creditors get the tax. In 1929, the bankruptcy was due, and we didn't pay. We went into another dishonor. The creditors for the Revolutionary War had been paid by the Rothschilds' Bank of France, the Bank of Paris. So Rothschild had a security interest in the United States national government. The only way the creditors have a security is through the Federal Reserve.
What if a government intelligence analyst from the Pentagon is forced to save mankind from extinction and the world from destruction, but first he must evolve into the Messiah and create the plan to save the world? The 21st century Messiah arrives, battles dark forces, and sparks the Armageddon that leads to the apocalypse, rapture, the 2012 pole shift, and extraterrestrial contact. Buy the book today by Ronald Farnham at Amazon and Barnes & Noble. The Second Coming of the Messiah, Book 1, The Awakening.
Hello, and we are back with Law Class 101 from Ronald. All right, when I left off, we were talking about the Bank of Paris and the Rothschilds had a security interest in the national government. And the only way the creditors have a security interest is through the Federal Reserve. That is how the creditors who we owe have a security interest, is through our Federal Reserve. Okay. So in 1929, the creditors had already taken the state's sovereignty, and then they had already taken the nation's sovereignty through the two bankruptcies. Therefore, in 1929, they now took the people's sovereignty. They demonstrated it by confiscating all gold and silver, and by confiscation of all legal title. Up until 1933, you could hold legal title on your property called allodial title, A-L-L-O-D-I-A-L. If you purchased it with gold, it was yours. You had control of the property, but now, because the people are in dishonor and the people are bankrupt, they no longer control their property. Allodial title is legal and equitable title. Allodial title is legal and equitable title. It is one title and gives you control. I want you to understand this. Everything has been set up this way for your benefit, okay? When you understand how to be a creditor in that system, you will see how powerful it is. Our old system of law, being in the Republic, being under common law, and the execution of law, is not a good place to be. It is destructive. So you might think that the system that you're in right now is not good, but contradictory to some of what I have been saying, it actually is good. That's why I decided to teach you the truth about the law, so you can operate within it and take control over your title. And in the meantime, we will also tear our Social Security cards up in effigy, and I'll discuss why. There's going to be 3 major events that we are going to do as a human species, and I'll get to that later on in my series and the episodes as we lead up to April 15th, 2012. If you control the property, you have legal title whether you have the document or not, and you are sovereign and the property is sovereign. If you take your grant deed and accept it for value and return it to the county, then you will be removed from the assessor's parcel numbering system, and there's no longer a property tax on the property because it is off the grid. Rewind that and listen to it. If you do that, I'm not going to repeat everything, but that's why I'm recording it. You can stop, rewind. That's important. Understand that. Okay? If you do that, then you must learn how to be responsible for the property because it is off the grid. Okay? That means bonding for sewage, police department, fire department, and any benefits and privileges that your property receives, you now become responsible for. You were paying property taxes because the county took responsibility for those things: water, sewage, police, fire department. Common law now is admiralty law. That's the law that we operate under. Our common law now that we are operating under in the United States is admiralty. That's what we've all agreed upon. Remember when I said one of the forms of law is common law? It's an agreement to operate under this system. We have natural law, commercial law, which is sovereign contracting, human being to human being, or corporate fiction to corporate fiction, common law, and then political law. And your most powerful way of negotiating through all of those is through commercial law. But now, currently, our common law is admiralty law. You are not subject to anything except by volunteering and by agreement. So in commercial contracting, you volunteer, you agree, you negotiate. That subjects you to the commercial verbal contract, which falls in and is above common law. So moving up above that, we are negotiating our commercial law contracts that affect our common law status. Just understand that, okay? Common law is now admiralty. You are not subject to anything except by volunteering and by agreement. Okay, that's a repetition. I just said that. But when you lost your sovereignty and your ability to pay your bills, they actually gave you something in exchange. And anytime you take something, anytime they take something from you, they must give you something of equal or greater value in return. Otherwise, they are committing a crime. All right?
Now available at Amazon and Barnes & Noble is Harry Johnson, Diary of a Gigolo Porn Star. The crazy adventure of a 1951-born male in Beaufort, Georgia with a 2-foot penis that grows to 3 feet. He goes on to become an international porn star after becoming a war hero in Vietnam. Get it today at Amazon or Barnes & Noble.
What they gave you in 1933 was that everyone in jurisdiction A, the Republic, now has an exemption. You are a creditor. From the perspective of jurisdiction B, you are a debtor. And jurisdiction B, remember, is the democracy that you now live in. You're a debtor, automatically. As a human being living in the republic, you're a creditor. Your commercial fiction in the democracy, which is what you're being controlled by, is put you in the status of being a debtor. You're a debtor. Let's understand this by examining the public trust and private trust. A trust has four parts: grantor, trustee, beneficiary, and res, R-E-S, or corpus. That's the thing of the trust or the property. In 1933, they took your title to your land and the ability to pay your debts with real money. All right, they confiscated all gold and silver, which is what we had common law agreed as the thing with worth that we could pay debts with. Well, they took that away. They also took title to your body through the certificate of title called a birth certificate, B-E-R-T-H, which is the title to your body. Your birth certificate is the title to your body. It is actually a negotiable instrument. You can take legal title of your body back, and they were only doing this to give you a benefit. Based on their perspective, you are a bunch of irresponsible people. If you want to be irresponsible, they'll let you be so. But they put you in this trust so they control your irresponsible behavior, you slaves on this global plantation, or at least national in the United States, because this is really about the history of the United States that you've got to understand. So let's talk about private trust. In a private trust, the grantor is living men and women. The trustee is a foreign situs trust that is created and evidenced by the birth certificate. Now, this is your private trust we are talking about, okay? So in the private trust, the grantor is living human being. The trustee is a foreign situs trust that is created and evidenced by the birth certificate. A foreign situs trust is established with your birth certificate. Foreign meaning foreign to the jurisdiction B, foreign to the democracy. In order for them to create a government on top of a government, they first had to recognize the people in jurisdiction A, the republic, saying, you are the source of all the energy and production, so we need to have a legal identity for you in jurisdiction A, the private or the republic. So they created a legal entity that we call the Foreign Situs Trust, a trustee. A Foreign Situs Trust is foreign from jurisdiction B, the democracy. It's an entity that is foreign from the democracy. It's a legal entity that is on your birth certificate in upper and lower case. It is a separate legal identity from the U.S. citizen that gets created. Beneficiaries of the private trust are the public trust, public entities, the government, U.S. citizens, corporations. Public trust. Your public trust, grantor, is a position that's weighed. Someone steps in to be the grantor. Trustees are the public officials, judges, attorneys, governments, agents of any kind. Beneficiaries, or debtors, are the people of that public trust. The benefit is what you get from the corporations doing things for you. The public trust is the government and a mere reflection of the private trust. The trustee controls the trust. The duties of the trustee are determined by the grantor. If the grantor creates the trust, then the trustee controls the trust. All right, listen to that all again. It's important you understand what a public trust is and what a private trust is. You are born into the world, and the law form we are all operating under is known as admiralty or maritime law. That can be commercial law and it can be common law. We are in admiralty because it is the superior law form and it has grace and mercy. All right? Common law is execution of the law. In the Bible, in Genesis, God gives Adam and Eve the law in the non-commercial zone. Everything is yours, he says. There is no commercial transactions. There is no payment. You take what you take, and you give what you give. Admiralty falls into commercial or common law because common law is admiralty, which is the law of vessels. We are all vessels. In 1753, Lord Mansfield made admiralty as now part of the common law. In order for you to operate in admiralty, you must be given a birth into admiralty. In that birth, your mother fills out the application for a birth certificate. She filled out the application, they approved it, and even though birth is spelled B-I-R-T-H, it's still the same meaning. If they spelled it with an E, B-E-R-T-H, then they'd be giving away what they're doing. So you get a birth certificate, which is your foreign situs trust. It's what gives you the ability to operate with all of the other vessels. If your vessel doesn't have a birth in commerce, then your vessel can't interact with other vessels. The vessel is foreign to jurisdiction B or the democracy. Okay? You understand? The more you listen to this, the more you study it, the more you will understand. It takes repetition.
How to write a
just like
screenplay in
anything.
30 days or less. It includes the logline, theme, synopsis, outline, and screenplay of the 3 magic questions. Learn how to write a screenplay in 30 days or less, or your money back. Get it today at Amazon or Barnes & Noble.
In 1859, the Federal Corporation was established and claimed to have benefits and privileges for their members, the U.S. citizens. They offered you these benefits and privileges, which came in the form of Social Security, Social Insurance Contract. When you signed on for social insurance, you said, yes, I will take those benefits and privileges. This created another trust, a Cesti K Trust. C-E-S-T-I-Q-U-E Trust. It's an implied trust, which gives you benefits and privileges to interact with other trusts and be a debtor in the United States so you don't have to pay. You can operate in commerce. One benefit is that you can serve jail time to pay your debts. In common law, there's no debtor's prison. In commerce, in admiralty, there is debtor's prison. So when you go to jail, you're actually going there to pay the debt for your... You, the vessel, go to pay the debt for the private or public trust. If you were in common law, vice commercial law, and you owed a debt through common law, I could force you to work off the debt for me. That's how common law works. It is execution of the law, which I have actually done before. Someone owed me money, and I said, all right, listen, instead of you paying, come over and saw off part of these metal studs that were sticking up out of the ground around my pool near where the diving board used to be. Dude came over and did it. We had agreed. We were square. Not compass and square, but we were even. Call it what you will. And in my book, The Second Coming of the Messiah, I do discuss Masons, the history of Masonry, and the impact of it on you and this world that we are apparently living in. All right. Now, Garden of Eden was a non-commercial zone. There was no money, but as soon as Adam and Eve broke the law, God told them before they broke the law, if you touch the fruit, you will surely die. Here's the restriction and here's the punishment. But did God kill Adam and Eve when they touched the fruit? No. When they touched the fruit, God switched laws on them. He switched to admiralty, grace, and mercy. Although he said he was going to kill Adam and Eve, instead he went into a commercial law form. They were no longer in law of the land, quote unquote. So in this form you can discharge your debts, putting them off into the future. Adam and Eve put on fig leaves, and they said, hey, they paid with the fig leaves. God said, no, creditors determine the money, and God was the creditor. So he said, if you don't pay your debt, you are in bankruptcy. Adam and Eve were given ability to discharge, which doesn't eliminate the debt, it puts it off to a future time. The creditor, God, said, the money will be blood of animals, the sacrifice of animals. That's how you will pay your debt to me, is what God said. They were given ability to discharge, and they moved into the commercial zone. All right, from that point on until Jesus, they operated under discharge. Jesus came up with a new concept, or at least those who wrote the religion based on him did. The concept was prepayment. You ever heard Jesus died for your sins? Sins are debts. He prepaid your debt. Now we are not putting the debt off into the future. We are prepaying it. We're saying the debt is already prepaid or paid. So with this new system of law, we have redemption. You have surely read of redemption, right? In the New Testament. This is commercial redemption, and that's what they were giving you with the New Testament. This new contract. We were no longer operating under execution of the law. We were going to operate in a commercial zone where there is prepayment of all debts. I imagine that's why you put your hand on the Bible in court when you swear an oath. Do you swear on the Bible? I believe the New Testament, saying that you are in commercial law or admiralty law instead of the original common law of execution. So this is commercial redemption, and that's what they were giving you in the New Testament. This is this new contract. We were no longer operating under execution of the law. We were going to operate in a commercial zone where there is prepayment of all debts. So remember in 1933 that they can't take something from you unless they give you something of equal or greater value? What they gave you was the ability to set off your debts. Okay, the debt is now prepaid. Everything in your society, in our society, is prepaid.
What if a government intelligence analyst from the Pentagon is forced to save mankind from extinction and the world from destruction, but first he must evolve into the Messiah and create the plan to save the world? The 21st century Messiah arrives, battles dark forces, and sparks the Armageddon that leads to the apocalypse, rapture, the 2012 pole shift, and extraterrestrial contact. Buy the book today by Ronald Farnham at Amazon and Barnes & Noble. The Second Coming of the Messiah, Book 1, The Awakening.
All right. Money comes from your signature. Your signature creates all money. Since all corporations are dead things, they're not human beings, the only thing that is real is you, the human being. Everything else is considered dead. Since all corporations are dead things, they are all vessels with capital names. Anything with a name in all capital letters is a vessel. All corporations are vessels. They are dead. They do not have the ability to create money. Only you do. So you sign a promissory note for your house. When you do that, you are creating money. When you sign a promissory note, you're creating money. The funds go straight into an escrow account. You actually paid for the house. The bank in their infinite greed doesn't tell you that, but if you knew as a creditor how to interact with the IRS, you could discharge that debt. It is discharged. There is no debt. You paid for it. They tricked you into a new contract which says, I will pay the money even though I just paid you all the money. The wisdom in the system is that if you are a debtor, you will have to work harder and harder. The system is a balance. If everyone was responsible and everyone was a creditor, then there would be no money. So my goal to get rid of all money is to educate you on how to be a creditor and not a debtor. That's our goal, getting rid of all the money. We all want to be creditors. We're tired of working so hard and slaving. It's killing everybody. Millions and billions of people are going to die anyway in what's coming up on the planet, but it's going to happen. Alright, so the bank in their infinite greed doesn't tell you that. But if you knew as a creditor how to interact with the IRS, you could discharge that debt. It is discharged. There is no debt. You paid for it. They tricked you into a new contract which says, I will pay you the money even though I just paid you all the money. Now, the wisdom in this system is that if you are a debtor, you will have to work harder and harder. The system is a balance. If everyone was responsible and everyone was a creditor, there would be no money. We would all walk around and sign our names to pay for things. The fact is that there are debtors and people who refuse to take responsibility. In that system, you can't tell debtors, hey, this is how things work, and then go to creditors, okay, this is really how things work. We just have to assume you are all debtors. If you are all debtors, then you are under the slave system. You are controlled. Title to your body is being held. Title to your body is being held. You are controlled. The money system was changed to the faith, spirit, and energy of the United States. Faith means you believe in a monetary system exists. Spirit means you think up ways to find value, and energy is you move around to make it happen. All of these things are good. You have the credit as the creditor. The bank stands in your way. The bank assumes you are a debtor. In the world of debtors, a financial intermediary has been put in place. The banks. Banks block you from your credit. If you endorse a check, you create the funds for that check. You've authorized the bank to create funds out of nothing. This is why you cannot deposit it without a signature except for a money order. A money order is actually backed by gold. What's up, Frank? All right, so when we get back, I'll get to more after this.
How to write a screenplay in 30 days or less. It includes the logline, theme, synopsis, outline, and screenplay of the three magic questions. Learn how to write a screenplay in 30 days or less, or your money back. Get it today at Amazon or Barnes & Noble.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to Law Class 101. Let's pick up where we left off, and well, just about the hat. Why am I wearing this hat? It'll all make sense as the episodes go on, so just consider this Law Class 101 in the chronicles of what is going on with Ronald Farnham. Anyway, I'm not going to describe to you and tell you why I have this hat, but you'll learn soon enough. It's part of the mystery of the Ronald Show, documenting the collapse of life as we know it is perpetrated by the global military-industrial complex. I am Ronald. Okay. Money comes from your signature. Your signature creates all money. Since all corporations are dead things, they are all vessels with all capital names. All capital names. Anything with a name in all capital letters is a vessel. All corporations are vessels. They are dead. They do not have the ability to create money. Only you do. Only you have the ability, you the human being, the human vessel, have the ability with your signature to create money. So, for instance, when you sign a promissory note for your house, you are creating money. Those funds go straight into an escrow account. You actually paid for the house. The bank, in their infinite greed, doesn't tell you that. But if you knew as a creditor how to interact with the IRS, you could discharge that debt. It is discharged, actually. There is no debt. You paid for it. They tricked you into a new contract which says, I will pay you money, even though I just paid you all the money. The wisdom in the system is that if you are a debtor, you will have to work harder and harder. The system is a balance. If everyone was responsible and everyone was a creditor, then there would be no money. we would all walk around and sign our names to pay for things. The fact is, there are debtors and people who refuse to take responsibility. In that system, you can't tell debtors, hey, this is how things work, and then go and tell creditors, okay, this is how things really work. It doesn't work that way. We just have to assume you are all debtors. If you are all debtors, then you are under the slave system. You are controlled. Title to your body is being held. The money system was changed to the faith, spirit, and energy of the United States. Faith means you believe in monetary system exists. Spirit means you think up ways to find value, and energy is you move around to make it happen. Now, all of these things that I'm talking about are good, actually. You have the credit as the creditor. The bank stands in your way. The bank assumes you are a debtor. In the world of debtors, a financial intermediary has been put in place, the banks. Banks block you from your credit. If you endorse a check, you created the funds for that check. You've authorized the bank to create funds out of nothing. This is why you cannot deposit it without a signature, except for a money order. A money order is actually backed by gold. On a check where you endorse, there is small writing which authorizes your signature, making you an authorized representative of the bank. As soon as you depose yourself of the funds by depositing it into an account, you give them possession of the money. It's their money now, but you are authorizing the creation of the money. Without you, the bank could not create the money. The Federal Reserve can't create money. The government can't create money. In a deposit situation, you are the grantor. They take on the role as trustee. You are a trustee because when you using a check, you are an authorized representative of the bank. You are working for the bank when you sign a check. Interesting, huh? But they don't pay you. I wonder if you could wind up negotiating pay when you go in there and talk to the bank manager and say, hey, I'm going to sign this check making me an authorized representative of the bank. How much are you going to pay me as an employee? I don't know how well that would go over. You'd have to really know how to argue that in order to, not argue, but negotiate that lawfully, contractually, in order to secure that money for services rendered. I guess that would be a verbal services rendered. All right. Now, a money order is backed by gold because postal money orders are handled by the post office. The post office, created before the government, operates in jurisdiction A, the Republic. The Postal Service operates in jurisdiction B, the democracy. It is the only agency that has the ability to operate in the private and the public. The post office was created by Benjamin Franklin, the first Postmaster General. That is why he is on the $100 stamp. The uniform, I don't know if that's why, but he's on the $100 stamp. Benjamin Franklin was the first Postmaster General. All right, the Uniform Commercial Code is in play all around you. And that's the UCC, the Uniform Commercial Code. And it's really, the UCC is really just the laws that the states have adopted for interacting in international commerce, okay? The UCC is really just the laws that the states have adopted for interacting in international commerce. If you're operating in commercial law, for you to perfect a security interest, they had to adopt laws that as a foreign creditor, you needed to be able to come into your democracy and take control of property in your democracy. That is why they had to adopt the UCC, the Uniform Commercial Code. The UCC is for us, the foreign creditors, which is who we are. For you to come in and say, yep, that's mine, and nobody has superior claim to me. So you, in the Republic, you're a foreigner to the democracy. So you, the vessel, have an intermediary that comes in and operates in commercial in the democracy. So you, the human being, are a sovereign republic vessel. A fiction was created so that you could cross over into democracy and claim for your democracy fiction. Does that make sense? There are 3 elements to commerce. Okay, let's see. The claim or title. You must learn how to perfect your claim. And that's one thing I'm going to be getting into with these law classes is how to perfect your claim. Once you've learned how to perfect a claim and to get title, then we move into the different procedures. And realistically, without a claim and without title, the UCC itself, for people who use the UCC, one financing statement, it's just a public notice, okay? If you don't have a claim from jurisdiction A, then it's pointless to do a UCC filing. A UCC1 financing statement is a way for a foreign creditor to perfect or to put into the public record their security interest. So if I have a security interest on a real piece of property, then I can go down to the county because it's the county records that are involved in the real property. Then file the UCC1 financing statement that lists the real property as collateral, has me as the creditor, and whoever the grantor or the trustor or the owner debtor as the debtor on the UCC1 financing statement. All right, so you file the UCC1 financing statement that lists the real property as collateral, has you as the creditor, and whoever the grantor or the trustee is, or the owner debtor as the debtor on the UCC1 financing statement. The elements of a financing statement are debtor, creditor, which is a secured party, and collateral. And it's just a public notice. That is what the financing statement is. It is a public notice. The most, let's see, it's just a public notice. It is your claim that has all of the weight. So the elements of a financing statement are debtor, creditor, secured party, which is a secured party, that's what the creditor is, and collateral. And it is just a notice, a public notice. It is your claim that has all the weight, but your claim you never put into public, okay? You don't put your claim into public. The most important part of operating in commerce is perfecting the claim. Once you know how to get a claim, your power is unlimited. That is the philosophy, to be a creditor, because as a creditor, you control. So, if you feel the government and the current economic system is deficient, how many of you take responsibility for that? Creditors take responsibility. You have unlimited power in this commercial system. You really can do whatever you want as long as it is not hurting or damaging someone else, okay? We are in admiralty. I've already said that. A Federal Reserve note is not really currency. Okay, let me say that again. A Federal Reserve note is not really currency. It is a negotiable instrument. It is actually an improper negotiable instrument. If you go through the negotiable instrument law, it is not sufficient to qualify as a negotiable instrument. A Federal Reserve note is an insufficient, improper negotiable instrument. But one of your benefits and privileges is the benefit and privilege of trading that worthless paper. You get to carry it around and get to give it to other people, even though it is not a proper negotiable instrument. Negotiable instrument. Think about those two words. Negotiable instrument. That paper money you use to negotiate with, it's the tool for trade. Trading your time for some product. Like, say you want to buy an ice cream cone from Billy D's Ice Cream. You go in and you pay $2.11 for an ice cream cone. You hand them the negotiable instrument you're using to trade your time, which is what you used to get that money. You're trading your time for that ice cream cone. And the intermediary is the negotiable instrument, the money, the fiat dollar. time itself also has become a negotiable instrument, it seems. It is not a proper negotiable instrument. Now, trading with the enemy. It's the headline of this paragraph. And there's only 2 long paragraphs left. In jurisdiction B, the democracy, they cannot acknowledge jurisdiction A, the republic. If jurisdiction B recognized jurisdiction A, or if the democracy recognized the public, then all judges and attorneys would have to be eliminated, I guess is a good way to put it. Even though they are the watchmen on the wall and here to help you. The democracy cannot acknowledge the republic. If you understand what you are doing, then this is not fraud under what we are operating in. It's not fraud, okay? We believe it's a republic, and that the Constitution is what our laws are based on. But that is not the case. You believe you live in a republic and that the Constitution is what the laws are based on, but really, that is not the case. It's commercial law. That is what things are based on. It's commercial law. Creditors make the rules. When you walk into court, the only thing the judge is there to determine is if you are a creditor or a debtor. If you're a creditor, he's going to find in your favor. If you are a debtor, he is not going to find in your favor. What makes a creditor a debtor? The judge determines it by your actions, not your words. You don't go in there and say, "Oh, judge, I'm a creditor." Oh, perfect. He's not going to find in favor. He's not going to find in your favor by what you say. He's going to determine it by how you act. A creditor is at peace, is always bringing a solution, not arguing. If you are arguing, then you are in commercial warfare. You are a debtor. It's all in your actions. Everything you do, the way you speak. Now, this is a heavy concept, but being a creditor is a state of mind, okay? Once you really get being a creditor, and you'll have no fear because you'll know exactly how to interact with all those things that invoke fear in you. And that is something that I want to discuss right on the next segment of the Ronald Show, which I'm going to film right after this. So thank you for watching Law Class 101. That's the end of this part of the of Law Class 101, and I'm going to continue to teach you a lot more. All right, so you will be able to take possession and control of your property and all of your assets and file claims and be a creditor, not a debtor, in this democracy that we live in, which is run on common law of admiralty law. That's our common law. And you are the straw man, human vessel, taking responsibility for your private and public trusts. So go back and review this and get familiar with the law so that you know how to operate under it, because things are changing fast, and my show is designed to teach you all how to escape slavery or really take control over your trusts and all of your assets. All right, take it easy. Thanks for watching Law Class. We'll be back with the Ronald Show after this.
What if a government intelligence analyst from the Pentagon is forced to save mankind from extinction and the world from destruction, but first he must evolve into the Messiah and create the plan to save the world? The 21st century Messiah arrives, battles dark forces, and sparks the Armageddon that leads to the apocalypse, rapture, the 2012 pole shift, and extraterrestrial contact. Buy the book today by Ronald Farnham at Amazon and Barnes & Noble. The Second Coming of the Messiah, Book 1, The Awakening.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Ronald Show, documenting the collapse of life as we know it, as perpetrated by the global military-industrial complex. I am your host, Ronald, and today is Wednesday, February 1st, 2012, and I am sitting underneath a tent on the side of the road between Billy D's Ice Cream, right over there, and Rooney's Restaurant right over there. And I'm in the middle spot, which is going to be Jasmine's Imports, or Jasmine's Thai Imports. So we are in the process of opening up an international import store for our importing and distribution company, and I'm pretty excited about that. We're gonna make good money. What I want to discuss right now is vibration and speed. Here's something that you have to understand in order to gain control over you, the human vessel, your mind and your thoughts and your speech. And here is something I've been telling my family and been talking about since I got the concept in my head to discuss. What you want to do is begin taking control over your time and your vibration. And how do you do that? The first step in doing that is to slow it down. Okay, slow it down a lot. And you can start by focusing on every word that comes out of your mouth. Once you gain control over your speech, your body motion will slow down too. If you slow it down enough, you can immediately remove all of the tension from your body. Walk slower, speak slower, and take time between words. Finish all of your words. Finish all of your thoughts. Relax your breathing and make that a daily operating procedure for you. This will give you control over your time, your body, your thoughts, and your speech. It will become easier to do daily chores. It will become easier to clearly articulate what you have going on in your mind. It will make it easier to organize every aspect of your life. If you can make it a practice to, at every moment, relax, enjoy the day, enjoy that moment from moment to moment, slow it down, take your time between sentences, and finish every word. Start with that. If you can slow things down, you will have more of a sense of peace and control. Your vibration, our vibration as a planet, has been sped up, I believe intentionally, by possibly beings or entities that want us to move at a higher vibration rate. So if we do move at their rate of vibration, they control it. I believe naturally humans are a relaxed, calm soul experiencing this physical reality. And I'm really the only one experiencing this, having maybe created this whole environment that I'm experiencing through my senses in my own mind. Because remember, the eyes are receptors. Everything about your physical awareness are receptors. You don't put out anything. You receive, process, and see and hear all in your mind. See, hear, feel, touch, and taste is all experienced in the mind, not out there. You receive the input into your senses, and then it all takes place in your brain. So, if you calm your vibration, enjoy every moment, you will create a much calmer and more peaceful environment in your mind, and it will give you more control over your thoughts, actions, words, and deeds. Slow it down. Turn the television off for a week or two or a year. Turn off the radio. Take a walk outside. Relax. Slow down your speech. Focus on every word, pronouncing it properly. Take a second after every period in the sentence, or even between words. It will give you more control and more power. Okay, thank you for watching The Ronald Show, documenting the collapse of life as we know it as perpetrated by the global military-industrial complex. I love you guys. Thank you for watching. And remember, slow it down. Stop tailgating. Back off. If people are speeding, let them go around you. You'll know they're at a different vibration than you are. Slow your vibration down, and then you'll see the speed of the vibration going on around you that does not fit into your paradigm anymore. All right? All right, we'll be back after this. Peace.
Now you can have porch swings and cool breezes wherever you go. Introducing Louisiana Iced Tea, now in a bottle. It's made the right way with 100% natural brewed tea, pure spring water, and no preservatives. Louisiana Authentic Southern Iced Tea. Find your front porch.
The host of the Ronald Show, Ronald.